You know, it's amazing how a single word can hold a whole world of meaning. Today, we're going to dive deep into a feature of Arabic grammar that really shows you just how precise a language can be. We're going to unpack a concept that kind of blurs the line between what something is and what something does.
All right, let me start by posing a little puzzle for you. Think about a word like knowledgeable. Pretty straightforward, right? It describes a quality. But what if that same word could also hint at the action of knowing? Is the person just in a general state of being knowledgeable, or are they actively knowing something in this very moment? See, in Arabic, this isn't just some philosophical game. It's baked right into the grammar. So how can a single word pull double duty like that?
Well, that very question leads us to a really special class of words in Arabic. These are adjectives that don't just sit there describing a static quality. They also hint at an action. They live in this fascinating middle ground between being and doing. And the answer to that puzzle is a really cool concept called the Sifah Al-Mushabbah. Now, the name itself, the resembling adjective, is our first big clue. Its main job, first and foremost, is to be an adjective, to describe a quality. But it gets its name because it resembles something else, the doer of an action, what's called the active participle.
And this is the best part. If you just break down the name itself, the whole concept just clicks into place. Sifat means quality or trait. Mushabbah means resembling. So you put them together, and what do you get? An adjective that describes a quality by resembling the doer of an action. It's a beautifully simple and literal name, really.
Okay, so how do you actually spot one of these things? I mean, are they just random? Well, no, thankfully they're not. They tend to follow really specific grammatical patterns. You can think of them like cookie-cutter molds that words are pressed into. So let's focus on two of the most common patterns you're going to see.
Right, here they are. On the left, we've got the pattern fa'ilun. This is the mold for qualities that are lasting, inherent, something deep-seated in a person or thing. Then on the right, you have fa'ilun. This one is for your more temporary states, like a passing mood, a feeling, or a condition that comes and goes. So you've got permanent versus temporary. That's the main takeaway here. So that whole idea of permanent versus temporary, well, that brings us right to the heart of the matter. We've got to compare our resembling adjective with the pure doer, what's officially called the Ism Fa'il in Arabic grammar. They can seem similar, but their whole purpose, their entire job, is different.
This table, I think, just lays it out so clearly. Look at the Sifah Al-Mushabbah on the left. Its job is to describe an inherent trait, a stable quality. It's all about what something is, its very nature. Now look to the right, at the Ism Fa'il. Its job is to describe who is doing an action, a temporary act. It's about what something does. Being versus doing. If you remember one thing, remember that.
Okay, this is all fantastic in theory, right? But let's get our hands dirty and make it real. The best way to do that is to look at some examples from Scripture, because this is where you can really see and feel the power of this tiny grammatical difference. So first up, we have this quote which uses the word alimun, translated as all-knowing. Let's break this word down using those patterns we just talked about.
Now, alimun is a textbook Sifat Mushabbah, and you can see it right there. Its pattern is fa'ilun. That's our pattern for permanent, inherent qualities. The grammar itself is sending a signal, telling us this isn't just about knowing something in a particular moment. No, it's describing a permanent, defining attribute, a constant state of being.
All right, let's look at another one. Here the word is khabirun, meaning all aware. And if you're paying attention, you might already see the pattern here.
And if you spotted it, you're absolutely right. It's that same fa'ilun pattern again. The language is making a very specific, a very deliberate choice here. It's signaling that this awareness isn't a temporary action, like just noticing something. It's a continuous, unchanging, intrinsic state of being.
Okay, so we've seen a couple examples of that permanent, inherent quality pattern. But what about the other one, the temporary one? Let's take a look at this example, where Moses returns to his people and is described as being grieved or asifan.
So now look at the analysis for asifan. The pattern is fa'ilun. That's our pattern for temporary states. This, to me, is just so beautiful and so subtle. The grammar itself is telling us that while his grief is powerful, it's a passing condition brought on by the situation. It's not being presented as a permanent part of who he is. The choice of that one grammatical pattern tells the entire story right there.
So, after seeing all this, you might be sitting there thinking, okay, that's kind of cool, but why does this matter so much? Why have this incredibly subtle distinction built right into the language? What's the real power here? Well, it all comes down to this incredible level of nuance and precision. It allows the language to distinguish between a stable, inherent quality and a temporary, passing action. The very form of the word gives you a massive clue to its meaning. It's the difference between saying someone is generous as part of their fundamental character versus saying someone is just performing a generous act in one specific moment. That's the power of this.
You know, when you dig into a detail like the Sifat Mushabbah, it just shows you how much meaning can be packed into the very skeleton of our words. And it kind of leaves you with this bigger question, doesn't it? What other secrets, what other entire ways of seeing the world are hiding in plain sight, right inside the grammar we all use every single day?